Hello everyone, welcome to the Undercut. It's been a dead week again. Like, bro, this F1 break is just like,
It's because
what's
we're
going
not
on?
used to it. We're not used to having a break at this point.
No, we're really not. It's a bit weird actually. Like we're in this period right now where for some reason we've got another 3 week break, but it's at the point where like nothing's happening. Like we've
No.
had all the Perez stuff, we've had the Daniel stuff. Like there's nothing. It's not like the summer break where silly season happens. Like all the transfers are already done. Like for next season.
Yeah, we're
Like
just waiting on that Audi confirmation, aren't we?
yeah, it's the only thing we've got. So yeah, and I mean, even though it's very very likely that he will be in that seat. We're not 100% on the second red RB seat. We're fairly confident it's Liam
No,
Lawson,
I
but
mean it's 99.9% it's Liam Lawson, isn't it?
yeah. But it, we are 90% like sure, but still isn't technically confirmed, I guess. But we
Yeah.
have had a few things this week, minor things though. It's not been the greatest week, but the first thing that we've had, which is pretty interesting, is actually F1 has abandoned the rookie race in Abu Dhabi. I was really excited for this.
I was excited for it. I was really excited. Like that was supposed to be like incredible. Like instead of this boring testing thing that they do after, give us that. But
That's interesting.
yeah, I mean we're not getting that this year. Hopefully next year.
Yep.
I mean, their reason was logistically sorting it all out, like sorting it out with the track, sorting it out with the people, sorting it out with everybody there. Because obviously, if you are running a race, you're gonna need your marshals, you're gonna need your volunteers, you're gonna need
Yeah.
your race runners, you're gonna need So it's sorting all of that out, which you would think, seeing as everybody's there anyway. But it's slightly different to an F1 weekend that's been scheduled in for however many years now, the contract length of Abu Dhabi. So it's slightly different trying to sort all that out. I mean, I get it in terms of trying to sort it out. It's difficult and it's sad that it's not happening, but at least it should happen next year.
Yeah, it should. I was really looking forward to it because it's something different. We would have been able to have seen, I'm assuming, Kimi Antonelli.
Yeah,
We would have seen Bortoletto,
probably Behrman,
Behrman, probably even Hadjar in a Red Bull, possibly.
Colapinto.
I mean, I don't know if they'd... Well, maybe Colapinto, yeah. So it would have been very, very interesting. And just to see who sizes up in a Formula One car. Because this is one of the many things... We've had this debate all season. I mean... the last few years we've been like, oh, well, the rookies really aren't up to it nowadays. A lot of the drivers that we have, like, for example, teams would rather go with a Hulkenberg or a Magnussen or a Ricardo. But then this year, we've been all proven wrong as fans. Colapinto's come in, and I think to some extent teams have as well. Colapinto's come in, Behrman's come in, completely torn it up against these drivers that we think are, no one can beat them. But apparently they can, so... It's completely shattered our expectations of these rookies. None of them are setting the world alight in F2, but they do have pace. So that's why this rookie race would have been interesting to really see how quick these guys are in Formula 1 car. But we're not getting it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the teams then can have a look. Like, it doesn't have to always be the leader. The leaders in F2 doesn't always work out in Formula 1.
No.
It could be people in 5th, 6th in F2 that are actually the really good Formula 1 drivers.
Yeah.
And it sounds strange, but that could be the case. And this race was going to be a thing for the teams, for the drivers to view how they would cope in a Formula 1 car. And it would have been the right stepping stone to give them an experience of the Formula 1 car as well.
Yeah, and there was, there are many factors that go into that. For example, F2 is a spec series, but it still relies heavily off setup from the team and just general common sense for certain teams. Like Prima had an absolute stinker like at the start of this year.
Yeah, they've not been great.
But the thing is, we know because of Toto Wolff, Mercedes, and Saudi Arabia when Behrman went in the car, how good the Prema drivers are.
Yeah,
like if it wasn't for Antonelli's performance in F3 or Toto Wolff's word of mouth or Behrman's performance in Saudi Arabia, I don't think we're even considering Behrman and Antonelli for a Formula One drive. But
not off their F2 season this season.
No.
If you look at them, I mean, maybe Antonelli looking at a couple of results when Prema got going again. Obviously, that Britain wet race and a few others. But Behrman for sure this season, you wouldn't have tipped him to be a Formula One driver if you just watched Formula 2 and didn't know anything else.
Yeah, so and obviously this also works in the reverse as well. Like for example, Stoffel Van Dorn won Formula 2, or was it GP2 back then? I don't know. It's fucking long time ago. It was like 2016, 17. I don't know. I don't remember. He won it. Like he won it. Came to Formula 1, didn't make it. The same happened with Mick Schumacher, who currently doesn't have a seat. Teo Pourchaire won Formula 2 quite comfortably and doesn't have a seat right now. Nick De Vries, many drivers that have come through Formula 2 did well. Even Nikita Mazepin did well in Formula 2. Like you don't know. So yeah.
That was the big news, wasn't it? Really, this week, that rookie race.
It was the big news. We did have something else from Red Bull as well. We've had a little bit more information on the type of upgrades they're bringing to COTA. It's going to be an entirely new floor and a flexible front wing to COTA. So these are the upgrades that they're bringing. When you look at what McLaren have been doing, Ferrari have been doing, it looks very similar to the upgrades that they've brought this season, and they are hoping they're going to get them back on track and hopefully back in the fight with McLaren.
Sort out them balance issues that they seem to have.
Yeah, personally, I don't think these upgrades will take them straight back to the front, but I think if they do work out, they'll be a lot closer.
No, well, I knew that they were going to bring a new front wing after, obviously, Ferrari and Red Bull lost that appeal against the Mercedes and McLaren front wings.
Yeah.
So you could see the new front wing coming from Red Bull, and I guarantee if you watch that Red Bull, it will flex like crazy, and they'll be like, "Well, you said that theirs was fine."
Yeah.
So Christian Horner, Red Bull, whatever they've done there, they're gonna extract it because the FIA have allowed the other front wings. So that'll be something interesting to see.
It will. They opened Pandora's box, didn't they? McLaren did. They really did. Like when they've been, we always have some sort of scandal each year with a technical piece or whatever. This year it's been the wings, the flexi
front wings,
and Red Bull, because they haven't been favourable in the outcome of their front wing, have sort of tried to bring McLaren down, and to some extent Mercedes, but it's not worked out, and now they're bringing one. So swings and roundabouts in Formula One. It's always like this.
It's going to be interesting to see how much it flexes as well.
Yeah, no,
they could proper shit house this.
Down the front wing, it's like a bird.
Yeah, it could be crazy. So,
no, there is a limit to it though, right? They can't go over that limit. But
there is a limit, but what is the limit? Do you know the limit?
I'm not an engineer, so no, but I know that McLaren are very much teetering on the edge.
Yeah,
they were. So whatever Red Bull are doing, I don't know. We'll see, won't we? I guess.
Who knows? I mean, and then a new floor. They've got to be careful. Obviously, we know what happened last year with Charles and Lewis on the flooring around COTA.
Yep.
You got to be careful with that. Obviously, mainly your skid plate, but obviously Mercedes brought a new floor last season. Skid plate kept rubbing. It wore down too much. Lewis got disqualified, so Red Bull need to watch that as well.
They do need to watch that. And it also seems to be a big theme this year, floor upgrades. And they've either gone really well or really badly. We look back to what happened with Ferrari and the trouble they've had with their new floor. So whether this is Red Bull's attempt at this upgrade, and we'll have to see whether it works or not.
Yeah, I mean, Mercedes' first floor upgrade that they brought was that Miami?
It was around the start of the season, yeah.
Yeah, and you saw how well that boosted them.
Yeah, they
Did
went on a
very
good run
well.
after that, didn't they?
They went on a great run, and then obviously they brought their second floor upgrade to Belgium, and that went to shit.
Yeah.
So, floors, if you get it right, whole heap of time. If you get it wrong, you're nowhere.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's a bunch of things. People will say, "Oh, well, how can a new floor be so monumental in time?" The thing is, you only see 10% of the floor. Like it underneath the car, there are so many different tiny little components
Yeah.
that make a hell of a difference in airflow, all the aerodynamics and everything. So there's so much you don't see, and we'll see what Red Bull have been
Well,
cooking up.
these cars as well are heavily ground effect cars as well.
Exactly, yeah.
So, and with the type of car, the floor is arguably one of, if not the most important component of the car, which is
Yeah.
why we're seeing upgrades on this floor from every team every other weekend at some point.
Yeah, it's been a big theme this year. But
Yeah.
speaking of flaws and scraping, they've actually... I don't want to get into this too much because I do want to save some of this for the COTA preview that we're going to be doing in a few weeks.
Yeah.
But they have resurfaced the track.
Yes, I did
to
see.
get rid of some of the bumps from last year.
Some of the bumps. I mean, some of them were really bad.
They were. So they've resurfaced. So that probably means a lot less scraping. We're gonna get a lot less bouncing.
Tire temp's gonna be interesting then.
Tire temps is going to be very interesting. We've seen what resurfaced parts of a track can do to predictability.
Well, we saw what happened in Turkey when we went there after a resurfacing.
Yeah, exactly. We saw what happened in Turkey. I mean, there's been a few races as well the last few seasons where there's been a new surface or they've relayered something and it's just completely thrown the teams off.
Yeah.
So, we don't know what this means, whether it'll be a big effect or not. We'll have to see.
Who knows?
But they've got rid of the bumps. So, I mean, if anything, that does favour Red Bull as well.
It should favour Red Bull. I mean, we're on a circuit. We saw... Well, when was the last time we were on an actual circuit?
Singapore,
Belgium?
Baku, Monza?
I mean,
Monza.
you got Monza.
Yeah, Monza. Where's Monza?
You had Monza, and then you had Belgium before that. And before that was Hungary. So, if you look back at the track records of them, it's going to be interesting watching Ferrari for that one because the other three teams were a bit clear.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, we'll see what comes of that, but we'll save the rest for the preview.
Yeah, we'll save the rest for the preview. We'll get into the predictions there. But anyway, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and catch you for the next video.